Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome back. Welcome to my name is Joe Josh, and I go by iChart Daily. Today, Cuzzies, November 4th, 2025. In today's video, I'm going to be going over a lot of these coins and telling you if poo-poo hits the fan, we enter bear market, indicators start really turning bloody. Where would I potentially, hypothetically, not financial advice, would like to dollar cost back into some of these projects? If you remember, I've been telling you that I don't like the market and I've been taking profits, stacking cash, right? Well, I believe in crypto. I believe in an asset that's up 4.5 million% in 10, 11, 12 years, whatever it is, right? Not my opinion, cuzzy. Things up almost 4.5 million% 5,000 days. I'm just looking to get more of it at better prices. I wasn't chasing green candles at 117 to 125. No, I'd like to buy more at 185, 95. We'll get into it. So, if you're looking for up-to-date technical analysis and all that good stuff, the iChart Daily, that's the name on X. Let's jump into it. It's been a while, right? Lots played out, excited, all coin buzz. Shout out to them, believing in the kid. So, step one, like I said in today's video, bro, we broke down. We broke down on the 2-week symmetrical triangle on the RSI, the 3-week, the monthly's about to poo-poo the bed. Everything's breaking down. Let's get into it. What am I thinking? Get your pads ready. So, first things first, dude, we need to stop here. The bulls need to stop Bitcoin at about 98 to 100,000. I'll explain why I say that. If they want to continue to the upside, this looks absolutely horrendous because momentum is getting weaker and weaker each time. We're getting lower highs with the same lows. This is a descending triangle. Descending triangles usually break to the downside. You could technically make a measured move. We would be in section B, which is when your RSI is below the 50 and between the 20 line, showing you that you're probably going to be in a continuation pattern to the downside and continuously using the moving averages as resistance. That's step number one. We need to stop there in order for this to be a continuation to, not even a continuation, that's just where it needs to stop in order for blood to stop. You can clearly see, like I say, on longer time frames, I like to use the weekly, 2-week, 3-week, and monthly, and you got to go in between to see where levels change, to see where the whales buy. I don't care where you bought your Bitcoin, with your 100, 200,000, whatever it is buys. I need to see what the whales are doing. That's why I said if we break that 107 level, this level right here, you could see it's just thin air up until these levels here, right? And I confluence that with multiple wicks touching the line. So once again, we're at this point where, well, guess what? 100,000 to the wicks of 98,000, right? That's where I'm assuming there's going to be another more buy levels, right? Then I could see at that point, if we do that, maybe a dead cat bounce, and then what was support, remember this, what was support in a continuation pattern to the downside will be resistance. What was support will be resistance. What was resistance will be support. So, with that being said, let's go over some key things. And once again, that's not a play. I'm just assuming that. I'm assuming that there's going to be psychological buys at 100,000 because, once again, people think there's different buckets of people in life, right? Is this your first time buying crypto and you're trying to get in and you see that it's down from 126? People are like, yep, 100,000, I'm buying. Some people are day traders and they're like, you know what, there's meat on the bone for it to go from 100,000 back to 106 to 110. I use my certain leverage and you're good to go. And then you have people that are just dollar cost averaging at certain levels every week, every month, every paycheck of their life. So let's get into more technical analysis. So those are my key levels to look for. Key levels on the RSI is ding, 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 the 45 to technically, let's just say the 48 to 45. Those are the levels that I'm setting alerts at. And you need to see, does it break 43.01? And I'm not trying to catch a falling knife right now. Right now, we need to see support at 100,000. We need to see bullish market structure on the midterm time frames, 2-day, 3-day, 4-day, 5-day, to see that the blood is stopping there. Just because we've stopped here in the past doesn't mean we stop here now, but it does give us insight that it is on the table, right? We're not just throwing darts at a dartboard in the dark. Some other visuals that I use that help me understand where support is. Remember when I say when we break one, we go to the next. We have gone to the 103.5, 103.771, like this level here, and you can see the wick is now filled. I go to a 3-week, and I'm like, all right, what's the next level up here? You can see it's that 100,000 to the wick of 98,894, which also lines up with these levels right here, right? This was resistance, turned into support. I'm curious to see if it turns into support again. The main thing, right? Let's go back to the 2-week. Let's look at the RSI. I mean, dude, cuzzies, girls, whatever you describe yourself as, right? Fluffies. How long have I been saying that this is a symmetrical triangle? And if we break to the downside, it's not great. It's not great because once again, these are measured moves, and the measured moves are down to the downside if you break down, and that brings everything into section B. When we're in section B, that's once again below the 50, between the 20. Not my opinion. Look in the past, right? Right here, we fell from 40,000 to 15,000. Okay, we fell from 6,000 to 3,000. So we need to we need to see what's going on in the charts, right? 3-week chart. Let's get rid of these just to show you a quick visual. Once again, symmetrical triangle on the 3-week chart. Broke down, right? So, sorry, I don't know why that's there. So why is this happening? Well, what is the rule that I always teach you, right? Long-term trends will predict short-term outcomes. If you're looking at the 1 minute, the 2 minute, the 5 minute right now, and you're like, it's bouncing, we're going to get a dead cat bounce. But the monthly, the 3-week, the 2-week, and the weekly still haven't shown any signs of a bottom forming or support forming. You're going to get a fake out and you're going to get crushed. You're going against the grain, okay? The monthly has printed its first red candle since May 2023. Rule, write this down. Trend lines go with trend indicator. What is the trend indicator? The MACD. That rule holds a lot more value, right? The little arrow underneath that line holds more value on longer time frames. What do I mean by that? Minimum, I would say 4 or 5 day weekly, and then of course the longer time frames. And what do I mean by that? Trend lines go with trend indicator. Your trend is going up. You don't want your trend lines going sideways or down when your MACD is going up in a bullish cross structure. Now that the MACD is death crossed, you have to understand what section it's in. It is still above the histogram, so it's not like Bitcoin's going to 15,000. Bitcoin has broken the trend, the uptrend. We need to now go sideways. The first thing I see is 80,000. Okay? I am calling this now. Putting my eggs on the table because I think it happens. I think it happens. I think it happens. I don't know if I should say it, but I think it happens. I think we're forming a potential head and shoulders to bring us back to 55,000. I want you to remember this video, okay? If it happens, you come back, you like this video, and you say, yo, Joe Josh did it again. He shouldn't have 500-600 subscribers, okay? I'll get into it. I think the market cycle ends March 2026. That's just, I just think that. I think this is a huge, huge correction, and we could have potential like major dead cat bounces like we did here. Like we had a huge correction and we come back up. And instead of a huge correction, I think it's like a head and shoulders playing out. I think potentially we could come back to the 83 to potentially 75,000 over the next month or two. And then that would be, right, here's your shoulder. Here's right here. This is the head. If we do come back to here, the reason why I'm saying that, stay with me. The monthly is pointing down, which shows me that making a higher high, right? Making a higher high, very, very, very unlikely. Making the same high or a lower high, very high probability, okay? Because momentum's coming down. Trend lines go with trend indicator, right? Trend indicator doing this, you can't have trend lines doing this. Trend lines doing this make more sense. So, I think, once again, hypothetically, not financial advice, we fall 92 to potentially 78,000. And then we do this, all the way back up to the 105. This is your neckline, and then we poo-poo the bed over here. Now, these are monthly charts. This could play out all the way till January, and then from January to March, we have one last pump. News is telling you we're breaking 125 and we're going to 150 or higher. Indicators telling you otherwise, more hidden bearish divergence. Let's dig deeper. Why do I think that even is potentially on the table? Well, cuzzies, who remembers this chart? Who remembers me telling you that I think potentially Bitcoin's dominance could fall, Bitcoin's dominance could rise? Happens for the last 3 months. And then when Bitcoin's dominance falls again, maybe like we meet this double top area like close to January, and then from January to March for 3 months, Bitcoin falls while Bitcoin's going up, right? Go back to this chart. Bitcoin's going up from December or January to March, and then the alts have their quote unquote alt season leading into the end of it. And then after that, Bitcoin falls to 55,000 and retests the highs here. That's what I could see. And I'm curious, that would be a 57% correction. This is a 77% correction. Maybe it goes, 126 down to the wicks here of 49,000. Yeah, I like that. Get this out. Oops, sorry, just to give you a visual. Sorry. Big finger, small keys. Boom. 45 to 54,000 is like that range right there. And then you'd be looking at a cool like 65%. The reason why I think that works is each correction is getting smaller and smaller. Right? 65, 77, 84, 87. Right? Because smart money, like, I don't even want to say it because they shadow banned me last time, but large companies that are in New York City, when stocks go down 20, 30%, they consider that a huge buy. So something that's up 4.6 million%, if it goes down 60%, there's going to be smart money there. And that's the way it works, right? If something went down 87% and you were like, damn, I really want to get in, dude, if that thing goes down like 75%, I'm in. And then the next time it goes down 75 to 84 and you're like, ooh, I almost missed. If you remember, right? I said 17.5, 15.5, 13.5. That's why I choose 3 levels, right? If I would have just said 13.5, we would have missed. We would have missed the boat. But that's why I like 3 levels. Most traders use 6 levels. I think you're diversifying. You're getting too thin at that point. But So that's why I'll use three levels on the way down. So 60,000, 55,000, 40,000. And you catch the wave because at that point, if we were to go back up just to the all-time high, you're looking at 118, 120% return on your funds. So that's the video. I love you. You know, the next one to break down, which I think it did, is the monthly RSI symmetrical triangle. I told you guys to set an alert at this most recent low of the 61.68, and I mean, like, we're there. We are there. In order for this scenario to really play out the other way, this needs to be a fake out. This needs to be a fake out. We need to go to 100,000 and see massive buys. Massive buys bringing us back to, I couldn't even tell you what levels at this point. As of right now, if this is to play down, just want to, be devil's advocate, we're going back to the 50 level. If this continues to go down, once again, you don't have to take my opinion. I said it in the last couple of videos. Just look what happened on the monthly time frame from here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here. Blood. Not my opinion. It lines up with the percentages, cuzzies. Love you guys. Appreciate the support. If you know anyone that would benefit from these videos, they're just a sheep. Show them. Appreciate it. And to show them that I know what I'm talking about, show them the altcoin buzz videos. Cuzzy. Shout out to them too. Shout out to them. They were the first real ones to reach out to me, and I'm gonna run with it. So love you guys. Appreciate the support. I do think Bitcoin goes to 96 to 93,000, and then you'll probably see a dead cat bounce there. Enjoy the day.